bullshit. Can't nothing ever be smooth and easy. It's always some shit. Could you guys reintroduce yourselves? Cause this bitch was acting up.
Hard to catch us this time. I am Jory Eli Moonstar, welcoming you to the BS Busters Midweek Podcast for the last time in 2020. And oh boy, we got a long year to look behind and ahead to.
You know, never mind. Kenoshi.
It's Koshi about Nico here to say that 2020 about to reach its curtain call. And thank God, because this play was terrible.
Mm-hmm. If I could MacGruber the shit out of this year's, out of 2020, I would. This gonna sit here. Sorry, I'm eating while I'm doing this. This has been a shit year. A shit year for me personally, and a shit year for gaming. So let's talk about how shitty this year's been with gaming. Let's go first.
I'm gonna say it with something the most general of all. Thank you, COVID, for not only canceling certain gaming events, but also delaying certain games.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think for some events, I think it was a blessing in disguise, because I think E3 was going to be trash this year.
E3, like it's been every other year for the last exactly. 6-7 years. Yeah, I agree. I think COVID was a great excuse for a lot of companies that some companies should have took. Like I really do think that I think CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk 2077 should have been like, hey, we got to delay this game another 4 months until next year. And they were like, they should have done it. They should have done it. Because, I mean, look, it's unacceptable for you to have 9 SKUs of a game and only one of which is working. That would be like Ford having like 4 different types of Mustangs, only one model works.
Or Mighty Number 9.
No, Mighty Number 9 is not a good example because basically,
hey, they promised so many SKUs and
they promised,
a lot of them screwed up.
They promised multiple SKUs, but most of them worked. The only version that was kind of shitty was the Wii U version. Believe it or not, the other versions were pretty good. The one on PC was good. The one on the 360 was good. I mean, the 360 was good. The one on the PlayStation 3 was good. The Wii U one was the one that sucked. So, I mean, 75% passing rate. It's okay out of 4. 3 out of 4 ain't bad. But when you've got like 9 SKUs and only. Well, okay, I won't say only one. I would say the PC versions work. So the Stadia version works. The NVIDIA Now version works. The base PC version works. The Epic Game version works. The Steam version works. But then you have 4 other SKUs that are just failing. That's not acceptable. I mean, that's basically you're still failing because if you had a test and there were 9 essay questions, you passed 5 of them. That's still an F. So maybe they should have pushed it back. Maybe should have been like, I gotta push that shit back. And COVID would have been a great excuse to do it. We wish we could, but COVID. COVID is a great excuse, even if it's not true. COVID. But yeah, COVID has taken down a lot of games. A lot of games have used COVID as an excuse. Remember that 13 remake that was absolute shit?
I was about to say, which 13?
13. The 13 was the old suit of. I can't remember who made it. It's like it was kind of like one of those kind of trippy shooters from the 6th gen. It was it was for the GameCube, and it had a comic book art style for a first person shooter. And then they made a remake recently, and the remake was absolute ass.
Ooh. I was trying to remember who was supposed to be directing it. I mean, it couldn't be the one that does Metal Gear.
Yeah, it was released by Ubisoft, but it's actually like a pretty good little game, and it came out for the PS2, Xbox, Windows, GameCube, and I remember it for the GameCube because I think that was like the best version of that game at the time, and it was really well made. And the cool thing about 13, like I said, was the art style. It was basically like it was a first-person shooter, but it was with a comic book art style, and it's based on a Belgian graphic novel series. It's actually pretty good, and they made a remake, and it was a steaming pile of shit.
That's sad to hear.
As a matter of fact, check this out. The remake was so bad that it caused an increase of sales of the original 13. I know that's true because I bought it off of Steam. And the original game on PC outsold the remake in the first week of the remake's release in the UK.
Ooh.
You know, when your remake is better than the original, I mean, when the original is better than the remake, you done fucked up. And look, listen, no one is immune to shit remakes that are worse than the original. Because one of them came out this year from Nintendo. And no, I'm not talking about those re-releases of 3D Mario games. I'm talking about that Link's Awakening.
Oh,
That's a little low.
How do you make a remake that's worse than the original? I don't understand.
That's the weird thing. It doesn't feel like that it's worse.
It felt like it was worse to me. I was playing because I went back and I pulled out my original Link's Awakening, and then I pulled out the DX version that was in color, and I played through both of them, and then I played the remake, and I was like, the art style is trash, the charm is gone. Basically, the engine makes the game less charming compared to the original, the graphical engine. So it kind of brings it down. And I mean, they're like, you know, each re-release of Link's Awakening added something different. You know, like the original, the DX added the color dungeon, and the Game Boy printer. You could print out like like stickers and shit. And this one added create your own dungeon. Only problem is most of the create your own dungeons are lame.
I was about to say, isn't that what you would say about the Mario Maker levels?
Yeah. Generally speaking, most of the create your own dungeons, any of that shit is just lame. It's just fucking lame. But I'm just saying, like, how are you gonna re-release a game that had a pretty established art style and managed to fuck that up? But they did with the remake. So you know, look, listen. No one is immune to shit remakes of classic old games. I mean, last year we had or the year before last, I forget which one. We had the Samus Returns remake that was worse than the original. So, I mean, you know, look, listen. No one, not even Nintendo, is immune to making remakes of shit that the remake is worse than the original. You know, but if Nintendo, with their legendarily good developers and you know, talented teams. Although that Metroid 2 Samus Returns remake was doomed to failure because Mercury Steam worked on it. The same people who fucked up Castlevania. So not really surprised that remake was shit. I was like, not really out of the realm of possibility, in my humble opinion. If they can fail, then all these other companies making remakes, I'm like, 2020 has been the year of remakes that fucked up. Like that that Warcraft 3 remake from Blizzard, Reforged, which was shit. Any other gaming trends in 2020 that just have fallen flat on their ass?
Sure. I would say our usual suspects has still been on their usual streak, COVID or not.
Looter shooters.
Yep. And one of the more rare looter shooters that tried to take advantage of this situation and took a nasty L up the rear end was a Marvel game.
Yeah. Looter shooters have been getting their ass kicked this year. I think it's hilarious that Square Enix was like, well, yeah, we've lost like 96% of our population on Steam, which, I mean, for those of you who don't know, Steam is the largest PC gaming platform
just make
in the
it
world.
Free to play. Make it free to play and restructure the models. So if they want to make any money off this game, any more money off this game, it's probably what they're going to need to do. You can't sell a $60 game and,
Stuff with microtransactions.
And put microtransactions.
You're right.
People are still getting tired of that.
People are getting tired of that shit.
Especially now.
I mean,
First Star Wars, then Marvel.
To be honest with you, it's unacceptable for any $60 game to have microtransactions.
And this is before remembering that some idiot in some part of the gaming world said, "Why don't we charge $70 and then have all this added to it?"
I'll be honest with you. I'm not all that against $70 games if there was shit added to it or brought back.
I'm sorry, but I have to give a look to the person that says that and look at the current market and then give them a middle finger.
Let me finish. I'm not against a $70 or even $80 price tag on a game if there were things added to it, commensurate to shit that added to it, or either added to it or like shit that used to be part of games that's not there anymore. Like, for example, if Nintendo said, okay, we're charging $70 for our games, but they come with with manuals now, like they used to back in the day, and not that black and white shit that they did before they phased out manuals altogether. I mean, like, you buy a Mario game and it has that awesome illustrations like they had back in the day. I'd be okay with that. Like, I wouldn't be against that because you're at least getting something for your value. If a AAA developer says we're going to charge $70 or $80 for this game, but there's not going to be any microtransactions in it and they get more money, good. But don't sell me a $60 game and then sneak microtransactions into the shit, like a month after it's...
Crash Team Racing?
Or, that Ubisoft game, the new Ubisoft game that came out, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the one where they basically...
I was trying to not go there, because that was easy.
First of all, like a week before they added the store that added XP boost, they put a patch in that nerfed how you leveled up. So, I mean, that's just scummy. I would rather, listen, if you, basically, it feels like you're a parent and your kid steals from your purse or your wallet. I would rather you just ask for more money than you fucking steal from me. And that's how I feel about gaming. It's like, look, listen, I understand you guys want to make money. Listen, I own a business. I want to make money too. But I'm not fucking my customers over in order to make money. And you shouldn't fuck me over because I want to buy your product in order to make money. And that's where, like, that's why I'm not necessarily against them raising the pricing. Because gaming is an expensive hobby. And if you can't afford it, find a cheaper hobby. Look, go read books in the library. It's free. Okay.
I was gonna say that the only thing that's probably cheap and expensive at the same time, like video games, would be card games, and well, your mileage may vary like that too.
The most expensive hobby, I looked this up, is model train collectors. That's the most expensive hobby. Um, the most expensive gaming hobby is maybe people who like playing simulators.
Which has to be a weird thing to know.
Yeah, well, people who play simulators, like basically, if you want to have the best car simulator, first of all, you have to build a dynamite PC. Then you have to buy various peripherals that basically set your computer desk up to be like a car. And then you have to have different peripherals for what type of game you're playing. Like if you're playing a racing car simulator, that's very different. Like a typical like a NASCAR or FIFA, that's a very different type of simulator than like a Top Gear simulator. So basically, it's like you have to have different peripherals for different games. Some peripherals are tied to specific games, so it's very expensive. So I mean, you're looking at like you have to spend between 3,000 and 5,000 on the PC. That's just the PC alone, okay? Then the peripherals, you're looking at between 1,000 to 2,000 on the peripherals. Then the various games with the DLC and the extra cars, because the companies, the developers have to license those cars. It's very expensive. It's very, very expensive. But you know, gaming in general is an expensive hobby these days. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. So you know,
I was about to say
there are ways if you're as long as you're patient, there are ways to make it cheap. But you know, for the most part, it's not cheap.
yeah.
look,
I was saying that if anything, if you play, it depends on the game kind that you're going for, basically. But
the
gaming
cheapest,
is still expensive at times.
the cheapest you're gonna get with gaming, in terms of long-term cost, is gonna be PC, because you can get a reasonably decent PC, and if you're patient and wait on sales and shit, you can get AAA games for under $20, even 15, 10 if you wait long enough. I went on GOG. You can get Arkham Knight for like $8.99. The definitive edition. You get the definitive edition of some other AAA game from like 3 or 4 years ago for like under $10. And those are really good deals. But the thing is like most gamers aren't patient and they want shit now. And plus, a PC is a high upfront investment, but it pays for itself over time because you're getting games so cheaply. Then there's console gaming, which is cheaper in the front end, but also more expensive in the back end because most console games, especially first-party games, don't really get cheaper over time. That's especially true if you're a Nintendo gamer. Like Nintendo's like, we have a sale, and it's like that shit ain't a sale. Like, yeah, we got a sale. You get 10% off of this game. That's only $54 though. I mean, that's not really a sale. That's
Yeah, you gotta love Nintendo sales.
that's a slight discount. That is not a sale. Okay. And plus, they're like, oh, but it's only on the eShop, which means they're getting all the money anyway because the eShop is like a direct. The money's almost going directly to Nintendo. Yeah. So I'm like, the fact that you would get in my face and call this a sale, I'm offended. I mean, look. The Nintendo is one of the few companies that I don't mind. Like, even though I'm complaining, like their games are worth the full market price because Nintendo games. If you're someone who sells your shit after you buy it and play it, Nintendo games hold their value.
Yeah. They usually hold their value for at least 10 years.
Longer than that. Longer than that. Before GameStop did that re-release of Xenoblade Chronicles and the physical version of Metroid Prime Trilogy, I remember just looking at the GameStop website, and the Metroid Prime trilogy was like $90 to $120. I mean, ridiculous. And I have that version of the game. It's in the steel letterbox and everything. And I'm like, wow, to have a game that's worth this much. My Xenoblade Chronicles, before they did that re-release, was worth like $80. Which I think is a little cheap because, you know, whatever. But anyway, you know, like people, you know, Nintendo games hold their value. So if you like having value in your video game collection, I guess that's a big thing. Since I don't sell my games, like if there's a game I really don't like, I'll just give it away to somebody. I don't really sell my games, so that's not really an issue for me. But, you know, if you're a person who likes having a video game console that's worth a damn, I mean, games that aren't worth a damn, then that's the way to go. But it is what it is. So anyone else have any other topics they want to bring up about COVID being an excuse to get away with shit in 2020? And delay games and stuff?
Well, we didn't have the, you know, E3 didn't happen this year. I think I already mentioned that.
Yeah, but I mean, was anyone looking
this year?
Well, yeah, was anyone looking forward to E3 this year? Really?
To be honest with you, I was actually wondering how much of a F show it would be. I was hoping to at least see that mess.
I mean, I personally was like I've been over E3 for about 5 years now. I've been like, I don't really give a fuck about this. Like, I just don't care. At this point, I just don't care about this franchise, about this event. I remember a long time ago, there were people like Shokio saying that E3 was Christmas for gamers, and I'm like, are you insane?
Oh, really?
Yeah, E3 is Christmas for gamers.
I look at it like it's the big advertisement show for gamers.
Let me put it this way. Maybe in the first 5 or 6 years E3 was open, it was kind of Christmas for gamers. E3 now, E3 for the past 5, 6, 7 years has been shit. It has been absolute trash. Just trash. Just terrible. I mean, basically, if you want to know what E3 has been for the last few years, go look up E3. Go look up E3 at the oh shit, that's a good deal. I'm gonna take that. Go look up E3 I mean, go look at this year's Game Awards. That was basically E3. A big fucking commercial for whoever could pay the highest for advertisements.
Oh boy, that's a mess in itself. The Game Awards.
You know, that big circle jerk for Sony. Hey guys, you coming to the big Sony circle jerk? I'm good.
I was about to say, I would call it a Naughty Dog circle jerk.
Yeah, but Naughty Dog is owned by Sony. So it was the Naughty Dog, it was the Sony circle jerk.
Point.
So, unfortunately for I did not watch the Game Awards because I don't want to attend a circle jerk at all. So I
thought I would at least try to catch what awards were given out, and I mostly muted the rest. So.
I didn't even do that. It's like I looked at the shit after the fact. I was like, oh, that's some bullshit, and kept it moving. So yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad in my humble opinion. Okay, here's why I said that's a good deal. I just bought Shakedown Hawaii, that was $11.99 on Steam. Guess how much it was on the Epic Game Store?
Don't tell me it was barely $10.
No, it was $20.
Oh wow.
It was
Double.
cheaper on Steam than it was on the Epic Game Store. Even though it initially launched on the Epic Game Store. Because I really wanted to get Shakedown Hawaii, but it was an Epic Game Store exclusive. And I'm like, fuck, I hate the Epic Game Store. The only reason I have it on my PC is for the free games. And the exclusives. I do like some of the... no, there's like 3 games I bought on the Epic Game Store. There is... The Outer Worlds, which I also bought that on Steam because Steam has the better community for it, and like mod support and shit like that. So it's the better version of that game. You know, I know some Nintendo gamers are like, well, I have it on the Switch. I don't give a shit. Why would you want to play a game in literally the most inferior way possible? I don't get that. But unless that's all you get. And if that's the only way you can play the Outer Worlds, knock yourself out. But I was like, I want to be able to have mods and extra content and, you know, be able and tweak stuff so I can be like, yeah, I want to see my character in the third person mode. You can do that on PC. You cannot do that on console at all. But anyway, so yeah, it's cheaper sometimes. So, you know, when people say the Epic Game Store is cheaper, no, you got to shop around. It's like any other store. You have to go to different places and check out the pricing and see what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know. But anyway, let's keep it moving. So, are there? But I mean, let's not keep it all down. Are there any great games that have come out in 2020 where you're like, this is much better than it has any business being?
For me, I actually feel like Crypt of the Necrodancer and, in a sense, Wonderful 101 Remastered.
Ugh.
I said in a sense.
I was with you until you said that one.
Oh, come on, Red.
The next gen, it's a good game, but the next gen ports of that game are trash. I'm sorry, they are not good.
Yeah, right.
It's not good on anything that's next gen. It's not good on the Switch. It's not good on the PS4. It's not good on the Xbox One. It's not good on PC. Really, I would tell anyone this: if you can, play that game on the Wii U. If you can't,
I got both, and
get any way you can, but I would prefer. I don't know. I tried. I went to a friend's house and played it on his Switch, and I was like, "This is not good." I've played it on PC, not good. I've seen it played on the PS4 and the Xbox One. I was like, I'm not feeling it. The way I enjoyed that game the most was on the Wii U. I think it was built for that system, and it's really at its best on that system.
Huh.
Like sometimes shit like really doesn't do well when it's ported to something else, and that's one of those games where it's like, I don't really want to see this put on anything else. Like when they announced it, I was like, I mean, I want more people to enjoy it, but is it going to replicate how well it really fit? It's like it's like what's it called? No More Heroes. No More Heroes was kind of made for the Wii, and it just doesn't feel right on other shit. That doesn't have that motion, the motion control.
Motion control.
It just doesn't. It's like if you put it on something, it just doesn't feel right because it just, it's like Zombie U. Zombie U was really made for the Wii U, so it doesn't feel right when it was ported over other shit. It didn't even play right when it was ported other shit. And that's where people kind of, some games do not need to be ported. But hey, if you enjoyed it, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Because for a lot of people, that control scheme was impetus for them enjoying that game. So I can understand why you would be like, I'm not feeling it.
And this is from somebody that played it on the screen alone. So
I did both. I did both. I played it on the screen. I played it on I played it because I mean basically there were some sections where it would dual screen you where there was action happening on the TV, but then you'd have to like go inside of a building, so you'd go down to the screen and be on. And I like that. Like I personally like the dual screen functionality of Wonderful 101 on the Wii U.
Yeah.
More so than what they did in the port.
Yeah, that's the thing. I could deal with it being on with a mini screen on the big screen, as well as the dual screen that was the Wii U.
All right.
In a sense, I actually enjoyed both pretty much equally.
That's where I'll have to disagree. I enjoyed the dual screen experience of the Wii U over what they did with the port. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? When I played, I was like, I'm not feeling it. So I had to let that shit go. I was like, no.
Yeah, if you're going about Splatoon 2, I could agree with you on that, but not with Wonderful 101.
I mean, the second screen experience wasn't really the dual screen experience wasn't a major part of Wonderful 101, but just for me, it ran better on the Wii U than it did on the next gen consoles. So, and PC. Like I said, this is a case of a port that's worse than the original game to me. Where I'm like, how the fuck did you make a game that runs worse on the new shit than the old shit? I don't get that.
And one game I'm gonna be oddly honest about. Be careful if you're playing No Straight Roads.
That's the tactics game.
No, that is actually a interesting beat 'em up game that features music as its bosses in a sense.
Oh, where you have to fight in rhythm with the you have to hit enemies in rhythm with the attacks and all that shit. Yeah, I don't like games like that.
But I was going to say that it's kind of like a Double Dragon, but using music as its hook.
Yeah, I don't like games like that. I stay away from rhythm games. Rhythm.
It's not rhythm game.
Mixing.
That's the thing. I'm telling you, it's not a rhythm game. It's a beat 'em up.
So you're upset that
music.
It basically bills itself as a rhythm game, but it's really just music.
Yeah, I'm not angry at that, but the thing is that I had a lot of full cutscene issues and a few graphic tricks to go with that.
Oh, so it was poorly optimized for the Switch?
Yeah.
Oh well, shit then. Yeah.
That's this.
No Straight Roads. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, it is No Straight Roads.
Yeah.
If you're wondering what it is, I'll give you a link to something that to at least show you what it is.
I mean, I get it. I'm just saying that just kind of, for me, that just kind of like makes me just kind of like, it sounds familiar. I think I saw they showed it off at an indie thing. It didn't look interesting to me because I was like, no, I'm not feeling it.
We're here to fight, all right? So snap up.
Yeah, it has an interesting art style. I'm just like, how can I put this? Meh. That's how I feel about it. Beat 'em ups are very beat 'em ups are very like everyone thinks beat 'em ups are easy to get into because beat 'em ups are kind of simplistic, but like when a beat 'em up is done well, it takes more complexity than you might think to pull off a really good beat 'em up. And unfortunately, apparently, these people failed. So, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Hey, if anything, it gave me some music to enjoy. That's for sure.
Yeah, the music sounds really good, but aside from that, I'm just like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, though, if you, though when your final boss is upstaged by a girl on a piano, you you probably got some issues.
Like I said, it's kind of hard to pull shit like that off. You know what I'm saying?
I can get where you're coming from there. I mean, look at those auto fly shooters. Those are probably rare at this time of age.
I mean, it's hard to pull off a lot of shit. It's hard to pull off those types of things. It's hard to pull off beat 'em up, like, because beat 'em ups are relatively simple, but it's easier. It's easier to fuck up something simple because there's only so many ingredients you can add to it, and
I was gonna say Tetris.
Yeah, yeah, it's easy to fuck up Tetris, Bomberman, a platformer. But that's my own personal opinion. But what do you think, Inoshi?
What was the question?
I said, what do you think about games that have that basically kind of like don't really work? Like someone tried and it was simple, but they kind of fucked it up because something that's simple, like if a dish only has 4 ingredients and you fuck up one of them, the whole dish is fucked up. Whereas if a dish has like 20 ingredients and you fuck up one of them, there's a chance no one will even notice.
Yeah.
At least if you do it right.
Like
on the other ingredients.
Like, I mean, you know, like if you make a pizza, right, and the pizza has 5 toppings, and you forget one of them, no one typically is gonna. It's like if you're making it at home, not if you're this is professional, but you're making it home. It's like, okay, I'm making a pizza. It's gonna be pepperoni, sausage, mushroom, onion, and bell pepper, and you forget the onion. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna be like, "How dare you, sir?" You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're making a cake and it only has 3 ingredients and you're missing one of them,
you're in for a bad flavor.
So what's in this cake? Let's see. It's got or in this cookie, it's got cocoa, a pinch of salt, and an egg, and sugar. And you're missing the salt. People can tell.
I was about to say salt is a highlighter in a sense.
Yeah, because I mean, basically, if you have a baked sweet dish that doesn't have a pinch of salt in it, the salt basically brings out the flavors of everything else. And if it's missing that,
I said that it's a highlighter, like it brings out the flavor.
Yeah, everything else falls apart without that one thing. So,
it doesn't really fall apart. Like if it's a critical ingredient, I would say that you'd be right.
Normally I would agree with you, but go and try and go and try to eat a baked good that doesn't have salt in it. Like I don't mean like a sweet baked good that has no salt in it, like not even a pinch of salt, like made from scratch, like a brownie or a cookie. Ugh. Or even bread. Eat bread with no salt in it. Ugh. It's a miserable experience.
I'm sorry, but I have to look at you with a weird eye. I mean, if it was missing flour, I could get you with, but I consider salt a highlighter, not as in If it's a small amount, then it is a highlighter.
Yeah, but even the small amount brings out the flavor of everything else. Like, and I'm saying this is look, I've tried it because I'm one of those people that when I was a kid, my parents didn't put salt in any of my food. So even now, I don't add a lot of salt to anything. So one day I was like, I'm gonna make myself some bread, and I'm not gonna add any salt to it. Prettiest loaf of bread I've ever made. Sliced it, had a slice of bread with some unsalted butter.
No.
Mm, mm-mm.
Oh, you're like, damn it!
I fucked up.
I fucked this up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like literally, it is one of the
It's-
worst things in the world because it's like the salt brings out the flavors of everything else. But you would think, oh, I don't need it. You do need it. It's supposed to be there. It's the reason why when people bake baked goods, even if they're savory or sweet or savory, typically speaking, if you see in professional chefs, professional bakers, they will add a pinch of salt to the batter, or a pinch of
Yes,
salt to, especially if you're baking bread and stuff, they will add salt to the dry ingredients. Why? Because the salt enhances the flavors of everything else.
yeah. I was saying
But if
that
it's not there, believe me, you'll know.
it. I was gonna say it doesn't ruin it, but I could tell that dulls the flavor. That's how I could say.
Now, see, here's where we got to part ways because I've had saltless stuff, and let me tell you something, man.
Yeah, the salt. Yeah, it does enhance.
It
Nice
is
flavor.
it is terrible.
This is from
Saltless anything is terrible. Like if you've ever had a
this is from
burger,
somebody that this is from somebody that's trying to be careful of her intake.
salt intake. Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to lower
Have to
your
do it
salt
right. You
intake,
don't have to. Yeah.
I would say if you're going to season things, use kosher salt because kosher salt has bigger crystals, which means you use less when you season things, and because they're bigger crystals, when you taste things that have the large crystals on them, the bigger crystal means your tongue gets more contact with that crystal, so it seems like it's saltier, but it isn't. Or you can substitute out your salt for a lot of things with soy sauce, because believe it or not, soy sauce has less sodium in it than salt. So
That's a weird. That's a weird idea.
yeah, it's a little trick that I picked up from a guy that I know who is a professional chef. He said, "Yeah, the secret to my eggs, because he makes really good. He makes like a really good brunch." And when I was working in DC, because now I'm shuttered off in my house, but I used to go down there for brunch or even early breakfast sometimes. And I'm like, these eggs are really good. And he's like, yeah, I don't put any salt in them. I'm like, what's your secret? He's like, I put soy sauce. And like he showed me the article from a culinary magazine where for people who are like trying to lower their sodium intakes, soy sauce is a good and kosher salt are good substitutes for normal salt because like I just told you why the kosher salt is, but soy sauce basically gives you that umami salty flavor without as much salt, which is why it kind of is a good, like, if you're like cooking some eggs or something where you're not sprinkling the salt over the top of it, you just add a few drops and that saltiness will infuse through your food, but it's not gonna like fuck up your diet or anything.
Yeah. At least you could. At least I'm trying to be careful about it, but I know that that seasoning could be done right and wrong by too much or too little. That's the little trick I always think about.
Yeah, too much salt can ruin a dish, but too little salt can also ruin the dish. Because I remember one time I went to these people's house and they were at a barbecue, and like this lady is like on a low sodium diet and she cooked the chicken. I was like, shit, she's gonna fuck up that chicken. And she did because it had no salt on it. She put some of that Mrs. Dash shit on it. And I'm like,
There's seasoning, and then there's Mrs. Dash.
yeah.
And Miss Dash, stay out of the peeping kitchen.
Well, Mrs. Dash isn't terrible if it's like if you mix it with other stuff, but by itself as a salt substitute, it's terrible. I would
Yeah.
I would rather someone take some mushrooms, some dried mushrooms, powder them, and then uh, uh, pour that and put that on something. Um, than Mrs. Dash, because at least you're getting MSG, natural MSG, because that's what's in good in the mushrooms is natural MSG, which
Yeah,
makes
speaking of, while we're on the topic of food, I learned about this food, pancake or something. I don't really remember how to pronounce it, but food that was made in the 1800s, and it was food that was had natural preservatives that could last for years. And I was kind of like, how the heck did we, how the heck did we lose that? Like, you know, actually creating preservatives rather than focusing on natural preservatives that aren't.
well, that's where things get kind of weird, because you see, when people say something is natural, technically speaking, everything, even things made in the laboratory, are natural.
Yeah, I mean when you want to get real technical, yeah.
I mean, the thing is when you go overboard, it's kind of like this, okay? It's like sugar. Sugar is a wonderful thing. Sugar is a preservative. You can actually you can cover things with a sugar syrup like honey and preserve it. It's a great preservative. Too much sugar is bad for you. MSG, monosodium glutamate, natural MSGs that you'd find in mushrooms and other types of foods that have natural MSGs like sardines, anchovies, um, savory foods. They're great, but too much, not good. Salt, great. Too much, not good. I mean, basically, you should have things in moderation. That's the that's the thing. Just eat things in moderation. Don't just go overboard with shit. But anyway, get back into gaming. So, 2020 has been an interesting year for gaming, but there's some highlights. Like I said, like my game of the year of 2020 was a Japanese console port that's really well made. It's a well made game. It only had one major issue, and that was like an oversight on their part. But other than that, it was a pretty damn good game. So my 2020 game of the year is none other than Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon. Yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Because, I mean, and here's the thing. Like, Sega with their PC ports have really been knocking it out the park. Like, like, Sega has always pretty much had decent PC ports. Like, well, not always, but I'd say since around the 7th gen, they've had really good PC ports. Much better than Namco Bandai, those fuckers. Namco Bandai's PC ports are just embarrassingly bad. Um, and I say this because I bought Tales of Symphonia on PC, and I had to download multiple patches to get it to perform as well on PC as it did on the GameCube.
Yeah, it actually performed better on the emulator than it did on the PC.
I mean, can you believe how fucking sad that is? That you have to download patches to make a game run better than it did on old ass inferior hardware.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But I mean, this isn't just a Tales of Symphonia issue. Every single fucking game, every single Tales game that Namco Bandai ports over to PC is always some bullshit. Like, it's like, this port is trash. I mean, even their like PS3 to PC ports and PS4 to PC ports are like ass-tastic. And I'm not sure why. So I don't know. So what have you guys been doing? What game have you guys been like? You know what? This game is fucking awesome.
Huh. Considering the chaos and ups and downs, I would say for me in 2020, I say Animal Crossing was a blessing to me.
Really got you through some tough times, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So that's your game of the. So that's your 2020
and it
game of
kept
the
me
year.
sanity.
So that's your 2020 game of the year.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So if anything, it's not much, but hey, if it keeps me from going insane for 2020, then I'm happy for it.
Look, anything that keeps people from becoming alcoholics, murdering their family, or spouse, killing the dog, anything that prevents you from doing that in 2020, I'm like, you know what? Do whatever you need to do.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, this was a long year.
Yeah. Kenoshi?
I'd say Hades was my game of the year, and I was really surprised by it because I like super giant games, but I don't really like roguelikes. But this one was really surprising.
Yeah, I mean, super giant games.
It had a decent story to it,
Super giant games has been making really good games. Like from their first game to Transistor to this one, all their games have been pretty good.
Yeah.
So, they're fairly decent. Which is better than I could say for some people. So those are our games of the year. So with that being said, I guess we can go on to unpopular opinion. I already expressed my unpopular opinion before the cast, but I'll say it again. My unpopular opinion is this. Cyberpunk 2077 is fairly decent on PC as long as your PC is kitted out to run it. It runs poorly on everything else, which is not good. But I've been enjoying it. Really, I see these commercials where like I see these montages of all of these fucking bugs, and I'm like, where are these? I got none of these bugs. In my game, like the only bug that I've gotten in this, well, the only bugs that I've gotten in this game on PC is and I wish I had uploaded this video. I'll upload it tomorrow. I've gotten bugs where where characters aren't loading. So I'll walk past a character and they look like an undefined claymation blob before people put in the features, and then I watch them for a little bit, and then their textures will load. And I've gotten a bug where a sequence breaks and like I have to restart. I have to go to an earlier start. But that isn't like the second bug isn't necessarily strictly a Cyberpunk 2077 problem. Any game that's like an open world game that I've noticed from open world games will have certain triggers that sometimes won't trigger, and you have to go back to an earlier save. This is something that's been in games like that for years. This isn't just like this game is unique for it. So I can't really say that that's a major thing. But yeah, those are the only bugs I've really had in this game. I know some people will get angry about that, but it really hasn't been that big of a problem for me. I'm not disregarding the people who can't play their game. I'm not saying that. People don't deserve to be able to play their game, but it's on PC, it's pretty good. I mean, really, that seems to be the definitive version of this game to play, really. I have some honorable mentions here. Another good game was Half-Life. Was the Black Mesa Half-Life remake of the original Half-Life.
The Half-Life that they refuse to call 3.
Well, they're not. Well, no. Black Mesa is fans wanted to make a remaster of the original Half-Life, and Valve was like, "Oh, that's cool. You just can't call it Half-Life," so they call it Black Mesa. But it's basically a complete remake of the original Half-Life. And from what I've seen and played of it, it's actually really fucking good. So, Half-Life Alyx, also pretty good from what I've seen of it. It's one of those games that makes a case for having VR, but I still wouldn't jump into the pool because why the fuck would you why would you get a VR rig just for one game?
It has to be one heck of a game that revolutionizes the story aspect.
I mean, it's a good game. Half-Life Alyx, from what I've seen and played of it, is actually really good. It's legit. It's very good. But I don't want to put hundreds of dollars into a rig just to play one or two games. So, yeah. Anyway, those are my two honorable mentions and unpopular opinion. Yeah, listen. I understand the controversy, but the game wasn't that bad to me. There you go. I said it. I know I'm in the minority, and I'm okay with that. I accept being in the minority about this concept because not everyone's gonna see eye to eye with everyone, and that's okay. It would be a boring world if everything was the exact goddamn same for everybody. Yeah, game works pretty well for me. So, anyone else have any other unpopular opinions they want to share?
For me, it's probably not an unpopular opinion, but I might as well try. I'm getting sick and tired of seeing these arena games trying to get in on the League of Legends stuff. And I mean, we got plenty of them already, and it's getting to the point where I'm wondering, are you guys able to know why the one that you're trying to copy is working?
It's getting to be too much. They're oversaturating the market.
Yeah, as well, terrible gameplay concepts.
I mean, yeah, I agree.
Implication of balance, basically.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean that every single console gen we get that. Every single console gen, there comes some type of game comes out, and it basically takes the gaming world by storm. So everyone tries to copy it. Everyone.
Yeah, and while I like competition, and I'm being serious about this, I want good competition, meaning that you have to compete and try not to bring the game down with you. Because that's how games evolve.
I have to say I agree. I mean, it's not even good competition. It's just like if you don't have a genuinely good idea for how you want this game to work out, don't just release something that's like a MOBA or like Call of Duty or like Destiny or don't release games that are like something else that's popular just because it's popular. If you don't have a good idea, don't do it.
Yeah, and I bring this up because I know something that's close to my heart is gonna release something like that in 2021.
What's that?
Pokemon Unite.
So it's a MOBA?
Yes, for the Switch and tablets.
Well,
Oh
I won't be playing it. I've kind of written off Pokemon, as you can probably tell.
boy. I was saying that this is getting real. This is close to my heart because I don't want to see this go this way.
Not like this. Not like this.
Yeah, I already had bad experiences with the mainline games. Now the side games. Oh come
Well,
on! I already suffered.
they made so much money with Pokemon Go that
Yeah, as I said, I already suffered. Can't I? Can you guys stop already?
no, can't stop, won't stop. Um, yeah, I mean, look, I agree. I think it's fucked up, but what are you gonna do? Um,
I'm just, I'm trying. I usually sit those messes out, but I know the moment it comes out, there's gonna be those many, oh boy, unf- un unknowledgeable fans that are gonna be supporting it, and oh boy,
I agree, but there's nothing we can do about it.
yeah, it just makes me groan watching this disaster go on.
Nothing we can do about it.
It's
Uh,
like it's like watching a fight go on and see somebody so one-sided that you hear somebody say, "Stop! It's already dead."
yeah. I mean, the only thing we can do is just not support it. Here's the thing. At this point, the only thing I can do is not support Pokemon and support things that are like Pokemon but not affiliated with the Pokemon company. So, I got my hands on Pokemon Uranium, and I'll play Pokemon Uranium. What I won't play is any of the mainline Pokemon games. You know, if Square Enix gets their head out of their ass and releases another Dragon Quest Monsters, I'll buy that.
I was about to say they have disaster already and how they Dragon Quest monsters for the 3DS.
Yeah, the first Dragon Quest Monsters for the 3DS was pretty good. And then they released a second one that kind of was like, eh.
The first one didn't sell, and the second one didn't come out for international waters.
Yeah, eh, it's. Or maybe I'm confusing the 3DS one with the DS one. Yeah, I am, because the DS one was called Joker. The 3DS one was called something else. But I prefer Dragon Quest Monsters just because it's got more RPG elements in it.
Yeah.
But that's just me. Or I should say it has RPG elements in it, whereas Pokemon doesn't. Not really. So to me, I prefer Dragon Quest. And I was into it in the beginning when it was Dragon Quest Caravan, Tornico's Caravan, and then it became its own thing with the Game Boy Color with Dragon Quest Monsters. Sorry, Dragon Warrior Monsters. And I liked it for what it was. Matter of fact, I wish Pokemon took some cues from it and actually had more RPG mechanics in their fucking games, but that shit ain't happening. It's gonna be the same fucking story over and over again with minor variations and these lazy ass monster designs. And I don't care what anyone says. When they did some shit where one of the monsters was an ice cream cone and another one was a pair of keys, I was like, this is some lazy ass bullshit right here.
Well, thank you for punching Generations 5 and 6 at the same time.
That was lazy. I'm sorry. Look, listen. Okay, look.
I'm just saying that I could agree with you that there's some designs that are like really you could do better than this.
Look, I mean, why did they go back to just ripping off various cultural mythology? Because here's the thing: there's tons of cultures they could rip off and take shit from, and it would be different for different people. They've done Japan. They've done, kind of like various Native American cultures, but there's other ones they could do. Nah.
Yeah, I was gonna say they
it's
usually
like trillions
pull that
of
off.
different.
They usually pull this off every time they go to a new region. that they use another culture.
They could do. I mean, yeah, there's tons of shit they could rip off, but no, just.
It's like zillions of different mythical creatures that they could pull from.
I mean, they could steal shit from various Native American cultures. They could steal shit from like there's tons of stuff they could do. Nah, we're gonna be lazy and make a pair of keys. I mean, I shit you not. The latest generation has a fucking teapot. A fucking teapot.
And that's Generation
teapot.
8.
I mean, do you know how fucking lazy that shit is? And to hear Pokemon fans, oh, that's not lazy. Come on,
I was
man.
going to say that your mileage may vary on the creature design. That being said, really, a teacup that evolves into a teapot.
No, I'm not talking about. Okay, I'm not talking about the actual design. I'm talking about the variety and interesting things about there is nothing fucking interesting about a teapot. Oh well, it's haunted. Fuck you. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
No. You guys knew that shit was lame, and so you were like, okay, we need to not make this lame. Oh, it's a haunted teapot. It's like it's lazy.
Yeah,
it's the equivalent.
That's what I was getting at. That if they're going for that, they are going for designs ideas, and they go with something that bad, you kind of lost some of your ball there.
You want to know what that's like? That's like if you are at if you work someplace where they're like, get into the Halloween spirit, and someone is just lazy and forgot to get even something slightly costume worthy, and so instead of doing that, what they do is they fucking take some red marker and paint it on the corners of their mouth and say, I'm a vampire, but my teeth aren't coming down. It's like, this is just lazy. If you're not going to put some real effort into it, then don't even do it. And that's all I'm saying. Okay? Like, at this point, Pokemon needs a major overhaul. Either that or they need to do some really cool shit with a spinoff. Keep the main game as boring and uninteresting and lack of ambition and play it safe as they want to, but do something like they did with that Pokemon game that was like Romance of the Three Kingdoms with Oda Nobunaga that was a tactics
Pokemon
game.
Conquest.
Yeah, do something like that. I mean, shit. I mean, you know, do something like that. Just do something different. Shit. It's boring. Shit. When I heard they were making a Pokemon for the Switch, I'm like, so it's going to be like those Genius Sonority
I held my
games
breath
for the GameCube.
because I was burnt from Generation 7 already.
Right, so it's going to be like that. Because the problem with those games is that they never had the full Pokemon roster. But the concept of having a Pokemon game on a console was cool. They never really took it seriously. They were like, oh, we can't have a console game that's better than... or even better, like, have the console version have all the region of Pokemon. No, because we need to sell people 2 versions of this shit so we can fuck them over.
Why not make one console game that has you know, one world, and the other console and the Game Boy game has another world, and then you just mix the two together.
Digimon
somehow.
Dusk and Dawn have 2 different stories that go in 2 different directions.
Yeah, but that's smart game design right there. Look, like the Pokemon Company hasn't had good game design in years. If ever. I would say the last time the Pokemon Company had good game design was with Pokemon Silver and Gold, where Satoru Iwata, with his amazing
software
crunching skills, managed to get the original Pokemon Red and Blue world, Johto, Kanto into those games. That's the last time Pokemon did something really interesting.
I was gonna say the last time I saw them have any effort into their games would be Pokemon X, Y, and Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
I would agree with you with X and Y. Ruby and Sapphire, no, because those games were functionally worse than what the games they were remaking.
I say it's the last time that they put any real effort.
Yeah.
But I'd say that that I can agree that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were had less effort than X and Y.
Yeah.
Way less.
You know, how do you make a remake that's worse than the original? How? How do you do this? They did. They found a way. You know that old Ian Malcolm quote from Jurassic Park, "Life finds a way." They found a way to fuck up something that was unfuckupable, but they did.
Yeah, and even though, as I said, and I'll say this, even though I would no, even though I would strongly defend that the last games that had effort in them were in Generation 6. Red and I could actually argue a little bit about if X and Y and Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire are the ones that have the effort.
I mean, I don't even think it was effort. I think Ruby and Sapphire were just lazy cash-ins. They were like, we have this engine from X and Y, let's use it for something else. And so they did that. X and Y was the only one that they actually made an effort. They made an effort to make a Pokemon that was easy to get into and didn't demand too much of your time in order to level up your Pokemon, which is actually really cool. It was Pokemon for people who had shit to do. And then they released Ruby and Sapphire, which were like shittier versions of the original games. I'm like, how the fuck do you release a remake that's worse than the original? You do with Ruby and Alpha Ruby and Omega Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby.
Yeah.
I don't know how you fucked that up. I don't know what it is about a lot of these developers releasing new versions of old games that are worse than the original. Like, how?
They overcorrect on certain stuff, or undercorrect on certain stuff.
You know.
Or miss the ball entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, both Red and I could agree on one thing about Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. You had something that was in the originals, Gen 3 games, that you could have brought over to this, and you effed it up and taunted people with it.
Well, I mean, because people were expecting, oh man, this is going to be awesome with the Battle Frontier. You can do some really cool shit. They dropped the Battle Frontier. I'm like, why did you drop the Battle Frontier?
They not only dropped it, but they teased that it would be coming soon.
And they were like, fuck you. You don't need the Battle Frontier. Shit, you don't want post-game content. Like, almost every Pokemon game has had shit post-game content except for Gold and Silver. And the original Ruby and Sapphire because of the Battle Frontier. Every other Pokemon game, the single-player post-game content is trash.
I'd say, and this is probably gonna get me on my own case. Gen 6 onward had terrible post-game content.
I would say that it's been hit or miss for years. More misses than hits. Because like I said, Gold and Silver, going back and seeing how time passed and how things changed, that's a cool thing because it's a connection to the original game. The Brain Frontier, okay, you don't have that connection, but you still can take your souped up team from beating the Elite Four and go and face even greater challenges. That's cool. Even the remakes with Fire Red and Leaf Green had extra shit you could do post game. But now it's like they don't do shit. I mean, they're like, you beat the game, go play multiplayer, bitch. That's
what I was trying to say. That from Gen 6 onward, as much as I like Gen 6, but from Gen 6 onward, the post game has been a kiddie pool.
I mean, the post game is so shit that remember back in the day on the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color and even DS Pokemon games where you had the Versus Finder where you could like refight people. They took the Versus Finder away from some of the later Pokemon games. So once you beat someone, that's it. You just SOL. You can't fight them again. So you're stuck beating the Elite Four over and over again. it's just lazy. Like the Pokemon Company is just fucking lazy. And the reason they're lazy is because there's no competition to Pokemon. If there was competition to Pokemon, those fuckers would get off their fat asses and actually innovate. But since there's no competition, why should they?
I was about to say that the competition can't even keep up on them on the money case, and that's the real bite.
Look, I don't care about how much money they make because there's tons of look. Microsoft makes a lot of money. Windows sucks. Okay, you know, making a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean your product is worth a damn.
I know. I was saying that it's gonna be hard for somebody to actually make some competition if they don't have the money to fight back in a sense.
That's not necessarily true because, like I said, you know, Microsoft has a lot of money. Their browser is Edge. Edge sucks compared to Chrome, which is their competition. Edge sucks so much that Microsoft got rid of their old search engine and basically created Edge, which is basically their version of Chrome. They're like, fuck it, we give up. So, and Google doesn't have as much money as Microsoft. So, my point is this, okay? It's not about money, it's about innovation and getting your product out. And if they made the effort, you could get some good shit. But, you know, they're lazy bastards. And the Pokemon Company hasn't done anything innovative in years, and no one calls them out on it. They're like, oh, I just like this shit. Pokemon Company shit in my mouth, and it was great. I love it.
I've been calling it out since Gen 7.
You know the people I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you. You know who I'm talking about. The people who literally the Pokemon Company could break in their house and shit on their chest, and then knock them out. And they'd be okay with it.
A former panel member of ours, you know.
Well, I mean, I'm not just him. He was an example. There are other people like that. Like here's the thing. Okay, look, I totally get it. You like a company and you don't want to see them fail. And I get that. You know, I don't want to see companies fail, but on the other end of the spectrum, I'm not going to sit there and just say nothing when they're fucking up. You know, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to say anything. CD Projekt Red, they've been fucking up. They're getting sued, okay? Because they fucked up, okay? Nintendo, they've been fucking up. They've been fucking up all year, okay? Not entirely. There's been some good shit too, but look, in Japan, they sold those fucking defective Switches to their consumers. We had defective Joy-Cons here in America. They had that remake of Link's Awakening that was ass. Well, at least ass to me. I was not impressed. And like Link's Awakening is one of my favorite Legend of Zelda games, and I've played it countless times, beaten it countless times, and that remake was an embarrassment. Gunpei Yokoi is rolling around in his grave at that shit, and I don't blame him. So, you know, it's like people need to stop thinking, oh, well, I like this company and they make things I like, so that means that everything they do should get a pass. No. That means that the shit they do that's good should be expected to be good because they have a record of doing good shit. And when they fuck up, you should really hold them to task because they know how to make good shit. Why are they fucking up now? You know, like if you're an A student and you get an F on one of your tests and you had been getting A's, that's an anomaly because you know how to get A's. Now, if you're a D student and you get an F, you were on your way down anyway. You know, it's like when EA fucks up, it's like, I'm not surprised because you've been shit for years. Yeah. It's like, oh, they fucked up. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's EA. What do you expect? Nintendo fucks up, I'm surprised because I'm like, you guys normally don't fuck up like this. But anyway, yeah, people need to be brought to task when they fuck up. You don't just, you know, give them a bye because you like them. Especially when they normally have a better record than that. But anyway, that's my opinion. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap? Anything you want to bring up for the end of the year podcast, anything you're like, man, I got to talk about this. This is some bullshit right here. I got to get off my chest for the end of the year.
I was going to say that there's only one of us left that hasn't made a comment, but I think he's busy.
I recently bought Sonic Lost World, and that's a decent game. Had they gotten a chance a sequel,
yeah,
probably would have been better. But Sega doesn't like to learn.
That's what I always say about that game. I'm like, if they had just made a sequel and taken the problems and fixed them for the sequel, Lost World 2 would have been awesome. But instead, we got Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
And we all know how shit that was. But it's like you said, Sega doesn't learn. They don't learn. At least when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog, they don't learn.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of other games, Sega's been doing well on. Like I said, my game of the year is Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon, because it's really that good. But damn, do they suck at their Sonic games.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Like, fans had to make a better Sonic game. Can you believe that? Fans of Sonic had to make a good Sonic game. But I can't really tell, because Nintendo's falling into that category too a little bit with some of their IPs. For example, having played another Metroid 2 remake versus the Metroid 2 game that came out, another Metroid 2 remake is a better game.
Yeah, I like the art style a lot better.
I know some people get mad at that. How dare you? Look, it's a better game. Something made by a fan was better than the shit made by people working on the thing. You know, and when I hear someone like Eiji Aonuma, well, we don't want fans. It's like, yeah, I agree that, you know, sometimes fans can gain tunnel vision and get too stuck up on certain things, but sometimes you need fans involved with making certain things because they are your gateway to your audience. So, anyway, I guess that's the end of the podcast. Anything else you guys want to mention before we wrap things up? Nothing? All right. So that's the end of the podcast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. This is the last podcast of 2020. The next time you'll see us, it will be 2021.
Saturday, no less.
Saturday, yeah. So literally like 3 days from now. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. I will be getting fucked up on eggnog.
I finally got some eggnog.
Yeah, well, I'm making my own tomorrow. I bought some really high quality stuff, but I'm going to make my own tomorrow. Because when you make your own, it's thinner. It's not as thick and eggy.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. So with that being said, that's the end of this.
That's the end of the Bullshit Busters podcast for 2020.
That's right. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Peace. Good night. Stay safe. Here's hoping that next year will be much better than this one. And good night.